Let's make some Chile Colorado. Tender pieces of beef simmered in a bold, flavorful red chili sauce made from dried New Mexican chili pods, broth, and spices. Cheers. Are you team flour or team corn tortilla? Here I have 3.5 pounds of beef chuck roast, which I'm going to be dicing into smaller pieces. And now that I have diced my meat up, I'm going to season it with salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And now I'm just going to mix this together. And now that that's mixed into the meat, I'm going to be adding in some all-purpose flour also. I'm going to add about that much, and then I'm going to mix it in. So you want and then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. You want to make sure that all of your meat has flour. And I'm going to mix this again. For this, now I'm going to set this aside while I get my chili sauce ready. For my chili sauce, the chilies that I'm going to be using here is, I'm going to be using New Mexico chili pods. I have 2 chile ancho, and I'm also going to be using some chile japones, or you can use chile del arbol, and I'm going to be using 3 of these. So if you want it more spicy, just use more of the chile japones or the chile de arbol. I think 3 is fine for me. So now what I'm going to do is go to the stove, and I'm going to lightly toast these chilies before I cook them in hot water. And now I'm just toasting these chilies a little bit. You don't want to have your heat on high, have it on low, because you do not want to burn the chilies. You're just doing a light toast. So when you start to smell the aroma of the chilies, then you want to flip them over and remove them and place them in a pot. Do the same for the chile ancho and the chile japonés, or if you're using chile de arbol. Just be careful not to burn these chilies because you will get a bitter taste. And now that I have my chilies nice and toasted, I'm going to be adding some water to my pot. I'm adding enough to cover the chilies. I'm going to turn on my heat to high, and I'm going to wait until the water comes to a full boil. And now that my water came to a boil, I'm going to turn off the heat and I'm going to leave these chilies in here to soften. I'm going to add half an onion, 6 garlic cloves, and 2 bay leaves. I'm going to cover this up. I'm going to leave this here for the chilies to soften for about 20 minutes. And now that my chilies have softened, I removed the onion, the garlic, and the bay leaves from the pot. And now I'm going to be removing the chilies and adding them to my blender. To my blender, I'm going to be adding in whole cumin, the seeds, black peppercorn, thyme, oregano, and I'm going to be adding in the garlic cloves that they cooked in with and the onion. To this, I'm going to be adding 2 cups of beef broth. If you don't want to use any broth, you can just use water. You can also use chicken broth. And now I'm going to blend this well. And now what I'm doing is just straining my chili. You do not have to do this step, but me, I like to strain my chilies. So the choice is yours. Okay. And now that I have strained this out, now I'm going to go to the stove so I can sear the meat. Here in my pan, I'm going to be adding about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And now what I'm going to do is sear my pieces of meat. We're not fully cooking these. We're just going to sear them. So meaning just brown it a little bit on each side. And now that these have lightly browned, so you just want it like this, not cooked all the way. I'm going to be removing them and just adding them to a bowl. And I'm going to continue to do the rest with the other meat. And now I'm going to start adding my chili sauce and just scraping down the bottom of the pan. You can use another pan if you like. I'm using the same one. And now I'm going to bring my sauce to a simmer. Now that I have brought it to a simmer, I'm going to lower the temperature to low. And I'm going to be adding my meat in here. I'm going to add the bay leaves back in here, the ones that I had in the chili. I'm going to cover the meat. Now I'm going to let this cook between 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. After 1 hour, I'll check it. It has been 1 hour and a half, and now I'm going to check it. I'm going to grab a piece of meat. And this is done. So now I'm going to turn off my stove. I'm going to get ready to serve this. Cheers.
Mhm.